we'll be watching ourselves in delay.
Little bit. Oh, we're live. I think we're live anyway. Hi everyone, if this is working correctly. We're waiting for it to appear on the laptop screen. But obviously the laptop screen is going to be delayed. There you go. Merry Christmas to everyone. I know it's been and it's a bit late and everything like that.
Slightly delayed Merry Christmas.
Yes, so Merry Christmas. Hope you all had a good one and a safe one and all that jazz.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, one of the things I want to start off by saying is down in the side of the chat, there's a little dollar icon. If anyone out there wants to have a giggle at our expense, we have these tortilla chips, and we have this wickedly hot and spicy pepper sauce. I think it is. I'm hoping I can take it far enough, well, close enough to the camera that you can see it. So if you want to have a laugh at our expense, feel free to do a super like or super chat or whatever it is on there. I think I've set a goal for it. Yeah, and if anyone does that, then we're in for
we'll be eating some of that. And
yes.
I'm not a particularly spicy person, and that has how many? It has 4 little chili things out of 5 on it, so that could be dangerous.
I'll take it really close because you might be able to see it. I don't know if the camera will focus or not because we can't see the camera.
Equally, more importantly, we have our hot drinks.
Yes. But anyway, we're just going to have a chilled, laid back.
Apologies for any slurping, I've just realised.
Yeah.
I can't not slurp.
So if anyone wants to join in on the chat and say hi, then
get a drink,
hi. Yeah, get a drink, lay back, chill.
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic,
God, that's actually really hot, actually.
Well, yeah, I have just made it. A coffee usually is quite hot when it comes out the kettle.
A little bit. But anyway, what have we been up to this year?
Oh God.
We've said.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
We've said Merry Christmas. Tick that off the list. Right. Let me just get onto my phone. Please
just to break up the awkward silence.
There's no awkward silence here. Plus, let's face it, the microphones, no, my luck, probably aren't even working. You've probably just seen our lips move and nothing happen. And everyone's going about, why is there no sound to this?
I've got a green light.
Green light.
Green light.
Red light. Name where that comes from.
Traffic lights.
Yes. The year started off, it's weird because in the YouTube world, the year starts off slightly differently because we end up uploading videos slightly delayed that have already happened, but we end up uploading like a week or 2 weeks or sometimes even 3 weeks after they've happened.
When even we've forgotten they ever happened.
Yes, but starting off with, do you remember Storm Henk?
Oh, was that when it flooded everywhere?
Yeah.
But that's now normal because that happens every 2 months, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does feel like it.
Just almost broke the foot thing that I've got my feet on. You just see me end up on the floor. It's probably because the little thing I put my foot on has just gone flying and I've gone with it.
You're just on the ground.
I'm just going to be under the desk.
If that happens, I will grab the camera and pan it down rapidly.
Please don't.
But yeah, Storm Henk wasn't that a crazy one, the amount of rainfall and everything, because we headed out afterwards.
I don't know if I've had some sort of brain thing, but I remember it, but I don't remember it.
Do you remember that area we went to that we parked up at I think.
Oh, I do remember, and you couldn't see the road for the water.
Because we walked along the water. We walked along that.
Yeah, trying not to fall in the water.
Yes, water.
Water. Can't say that word. Don't need to pronounce my T's.
Also, the little pubby area, we went around the back of it.
It's literally underwater.
And the water was flying so fast. Yeah, that was not very nice. And
suboptimal. That's now just normal though, isn't it? This year has been so wet.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, that was an interesting one to start the year off with. That was for sure. Then the next kind of point in time is you trying to peek?
No, I wouldn't do that.
We released our stickers.
Oh yeah, was that this year?
That was very start of this year that we released our stickers.
Doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
If anyone watches this live stream afterwards, because I'm guessing there'll be a few people like some of our other live streams that they end up watching them after they've been broadcasted. Mm-hmm. If you do want a sticker, we are still selling them.
We are.
£2.50, I think, postage still.
Yeah. I haven't even looked at how much stamps cost anymore. So.
No,
maybe really underselling them.
Yeah, but no, if you want a sticker,
Yeah.
contact Alana on Instagram or
Yeah.
send us a message. We have got a contact bit on YouTube that sends an email through to our email
Yeah.
account. Feel free to ping us an email if you want a sticker or 2 or 3 or 4
or 7.
Yeah, and people might think that they don't sell, but they have
actually
been selling.
We're actually pretty surprised at how many people have wanted a sticker, and it's like the other couple of months ago, I never thought I'd end up getting so confused by it, but I actually had to get a sticker sent to Ireland.
Yes.
Which I didn't think sending something to Ireland. Are you okay there?
Sorry. I was kind of sliding a bit. My wheels were not locked in.
I just lost my train of thought briefly because I just saw you just there wiggling. I had to work out how to get a sticker sent to Ireland, and I didn't think that would be any different to sending to the UK, but apparently it's completely different.
Yes.
So yeah, they're spreading a bit all over. It's like they've gone to Wales, Ireland, Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's a few other places anyway. It's
good.
Cool.
The great thing was LRO show that we managed to. Well, if you see us at shows and stuff like that, feel free to come up to us, because sometimes we do have stickers that we're more than happy to give away.
Very much so. Especially at shows, just as a bit of like a limited kind of thing, you know.
Because we put on a couple on our wipers.
Yes.
We did on the Sunday. We did plan to do it on the Saturday, but unfortunately,
weather stopped playing.
Yeah, I was going to say it was miserly, if nothing else, wasn't it? So we didn't want to just ruin stickers for the sake of ruining stickers.
Miserable. It's an understatement of the year, that is.
Yeah. But yeah, we managed to kind of. There was a few people at the show that we managed to give them to. So yeah, they have been spreading. We are looking to get some smaller ones, hopefully, because the ones we have are quite large. So we're hoping to get some smaller ones as well.
Quite large, not really, but we just want a bit of variation.
Yeah, because
we couldn't say the word variation.
We've been collecting other people's stickers as well.
Absolutely love stickers.
Yeah, we've been getting a bit of inspiration from other people.
We have.
So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. The reason why these things takes time is because things like that I leave in Alana's department, and
I have to fit them in around working and absolutely forgetting to do basic life things.
Yes. But yeah,
please tell me I'm not the only one that does that.
if you do want a smaller sticker, lend your support, and it might prompt Alana to.
Yes. Just send me a message and say, "Put your finger out, girl." Literally, it just needs to be as blunt as that. You know, I'm thick-skinned. I can take it.
Yes. The next thing on the list, and it'll be a running theme for this year, because do you know what? It's always the case that we always say that when we get a period of time in our calendar, that we'll go green laning. On our own, we'll do some solo stuff, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we did do this year, but obviously we would like to do more. But the annoying thing is, maintenance keeps coming up.
Yeah, the boring stuff.
And the one thing that did come up was the aux belt pulley.
Yeah.
Do you remember that saga?
Was it a squeak?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a squeak, didn't we?
If you go back to the video where we changed it, we had this.
Oh gosh, I didn't realise that was this year. Do you know what? I genuinely think I've slept through this year, and I've just completely forgotten that anything that's happened.
When I went through our videos, I was like, that was actually this year, but it feels like so long ago.
It really does.
But yeah, we ended up getting this annoying squeak that got louder and louder, and we thought, well, we're going to have to investigate this, and we did actually think that it was going to have to go off to someone that knew what they were doing, let's say. But
you say we don't know what we're doing. Shocked. We pretend.
Exactly. But yeah, when we stuck our head in the wheel arch, that sort of thing, after posting on forums, Facebook, that's all them sort of things, and we just basically come to the conclusion it must have been, we don't even know what really was at fault, but we changed the idler, we changed the tensioner. And we changed the aux belt while it was there. Yeah. That solved that issue. So, but yet again,
we've still got the old tensioner in the little tool bucket we have, you know. I found it the other day.
I was going to say,
I can't work out what it was to start with.
I don't know why I keep stuff like that. I always think that if something...
You're a hoarder.
A little bit. I always think that if something breaks on the car, it's always good to have a spare, but something like that, especially...
A spare one that's already broken.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's already faulty. It's like, well, what's the point in that?
You just have an inability to throw random car parts away. I can't say anything. I have brake discs and pads that came off of an old car in our bedroom. Yes. I haven't thrown them away, that I realised today, but hey ho. We'll forget about that, shall we?
Yeah. But it's always the occasion that we're like, we can eyeball a weekend that we'll say we'll go out green laning, and then it's like, maintenance always comes first.
Unfortunately.
It is, as much as we want to do green laning, we do want to make sure the cars work, because ultimately they do have to be used day to day, especially for you to get to and from work and that sort of thing.
It's quite useful, isn't it?
In a little bit.
Definitely.
And then just to continue that theme, and this is what I'm getting at, the next saga to really kick off, and Alana gave me so much stick, and when I mentioned this, she's going to give me even more stick. What do you think it is?
Power steering.
Yeah.
Can we skip past that because I'm still traumatised?
No word of a lie.
Still genuinely traumatised.
We had a new rack, well, reconditioned rack, new rack. Don't really care what sort of rack it was. The rack was replaced on our car, but the reservoir. That's the one. I was going to say filter, but that's not the case.
Nope,
the reservoir was left, so I thought, right, must get on top of that, because for those of you that don't know about the Freelander 2, it has a filter in it that it filters the fluid on the return journey, so the fluid kind of gets pushed through it, and over time, I think it's on the return journey, I don't think it's on when it sends it through, but anyway, you can't replace that little mesh filter bit. Can you clean it? Some people do, but it's very awkward to clean, and a lot of people, well, some people that have cleaned it have said they've torn it. So it's just easier to get a whole new reservoir. So I was doing a bit of preventative maintenance. Lo and behold, I did not know what sort of suffering that would end up causing. I think I changed the reservoir, well, did the whole fluid change 3 or 4 times in the end, something like that. Swapped out the reservoir so many times. And basically what happened is we changed the pump because, we changed the reservoir. And then after we changed it, the steering was fine up on jacks, put it down. We thought we'd done a wonderful job. Went to drive off and the steering was rock solid.
Yeah, there was literally no power steering.
No. So we ended up kind of lift it back up, re-bleeding it, thinking it was something we've done wrong.
Yeah, like an airlock or something in the system, but it wasn't.
No, no matter how much we tried, it got late. Yeah, and we ended up abandoning the recording we were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a new power steering pump basically, and hoping and praying that was going to fix our issues. But it is a freak thing. I don't think I've heard of anyone.
I've heard of at least one person since we had the same issue that has also had the same issue as what we had.
Oh really?
Yeah, when they changed the reservoir, it stopped working. I remember reading about it on Facebook.
Oh wow.
But it's definitely, I don't think it's a normal thing, that's for sure.
But
equally, you're very much preventative maintenance. I'm very much, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
And I literally, I temporarily, we're not even married, and I almost divorced you over that because I was like, but it wasn't broken in the first place. You've basically almost caused it to break. There's no saying it wasn't going to happen coincidentally anyway if we hadn't have changed the reservoir, but
yeah,
chances are it probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
And it was almost us messing with it, kind of broke it sort of thing, you know.
Yeah. But we ended up getting the power steering pump changed out.
Yeah.
I am gutted that I didn't get to video that, but at that point, I was...
We were on the brink of divorce.
Well, yeah,
partly.
There was that, and I was feeling very sheepish, obviously attempting something like that. Obviously, it's good that it's done, but by doing so, broke the car, as Alana says, and I just wanted to get it fitted. I wanted it to work because I thought that's my only way out of the doghouse.
Do you remember trying to put the car from across our driveway onto the driveway with no power steering?
Yes.
Bearing in mind at this point you're going from like this to like a hard right left, however you want to look at it, like this on not a particularly wide road.
Yeah.
And with no power steering, and the Freelander's not exactly the smallest, lightest of cars, is it?
No. So luckily fit a new pump onto it.
Yeah.
And all was road the issue.
It was all fine after that.
We've still got an issue, and I think it's a well-known thing amongst many people that when they've changed their pump, I don't know if it's a quality thing. Excuse me, coffee's making me burp, I do apologise. When you're at low speed, low revs, it still goes a bit heavy, but I've talked to other people. We've even spoke to Warren at Muddy Mods, and he has the same thing with one of his cars.
I've forgotten about that. I feel like you just get that used to it doing it. You forget that that's not normal, don't you?
But yeah, just when you're...
Until you drive the Yeti and you need like a quarter of a hand on the steering wheel to turn the steering wheel, even like now, you know.
But yeah, it's just manoeuvring, that sort of thing. When you lift up the revs, absolutely fine. It's just when it's at idle and you try and do a bit of dry steering, that's when it gets a little bit weighty. But...
I just nearly said something about the Yeti that I'm not allowed to say just then, when I said about the steering.
it's all right. Wait for a long enough period of time. Most people would have dropped off when they watch this, and you can say it, and no one will know.
Good point.
How will they know?
How will they know?
Next on the list. Can you remember?
I have absolutely
No, I
no
don't think you would.
idea.
We ended up going to do something very different. Alana sprung this on me. I don't know if you found it on Facebook, but the Caravan and Motorhome Show
Yeah.
2024, start this year.
Yes, that's a very good point. That was February, wasn't it?
At the Neck, Birmingham.
NEC.
Yes.
I don't think it's. I know. I was about to say it's not called that anymore, but no, it's the. Have you heard what the Resorts World Arena's called now? The thing next to the NEC.
No.
I think it's called like BP Pulse Arena or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Wow.
you know when we went to the NEC, they have obviously all the electric chargers that are like BP things. Yeah, I think they took over the Resorts World thing.
Oh, wow.
No, is it a resort? I don't know if it's a Resorts World. Either way, the bit where they do concerts.
Yeah.
Concerts.
But do you know what? For a random show,
That was a brilliant show, actually.
that was brilliant. We have and ahhed about doing it again in 2020, at the start of 2025, because I think they do it twice a year.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, they do camping and caravanning in the February, and then just caravanning and motorhome, I believe it is, on the back end of the year. I can't remember when it is. Obviously, as much as when we went, we were looking around all the motorhomes, caravans, going, "Oh, if only we could buy, insert stupidly priced thing here, we would." But then I think we kind of realised that we're not rich enough
No.
to buy like a £70,000 plus motorhome.
Do you know what though? Like being able to spend 30 seconds in something we'll probably never be able to afford.
Especially some of the 4x4 vans.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
I was going to say, that red one, I don't know what the company was now, but there was a red one on big mud terrain tyres. Yeah, I think that could
Cactus
be right.
vans. I follow them still on Instagram, and literally, if we had an endless pit of money, 100% would be buying one of them. Oh, I just looked into the light because they were 4-wheel drive, fully kitted out. VW Crafters they were.
Yeah, I was going to say
I think they do Sprinters as well, but same kind of principle.
they ended up in everyone's thumbnail that pretty much, but even our thumbnail had that.
Cactus, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, but some of them, it was a bit annoying actually, because some of them, you could tell they're only available to people that had the funds available, because
Certain demographics.
they were strictly kind of roped off, and
Yeah, you needed an appointment to even think about looking inside them, which makes sense at the end of the day. It saves people stuffing across cabinets and all of that. Cabinets.
I was going to say, I dread to think they must have been like some of them. What are we talking? 250,000, maybe even a million.
I think
for
the
some of them.
Cactus ones were like 120,000
Yeah.
or something. That's like not being funny. In a lot of areas, you could buy like a flat for that, couldn't you?
Yes, but it was really a really good
Very
show.
interesting show.
Huge show, because that was a lot of walking.
Yeah, that was.
Um,
But the only time we'd ever actually go to the NEC and actually use the bus to get from the car park to the show and back, just purely because we're going to walk enough when we're inside.
yeah,
I think it's over like 6 halls or something.
like
And to anyone that's been to the NEC, each hall tends to be pretty damn big.
So we ended up going there more for the kind of camping aspect, because we still needed at that point to buy a few bits and pieces for camping, upgrade a few bits, that sort of thing, to see what inspiration we can get.
Yeah, camping wise, it was probably a tiny bit of the show, but it was still very, very interesting.
I was going to say, one of the things Alana will almost kick herself over is there was a stall there with self-inflating like sim mattresses basically, and they had a show price, and we were always like, oh yeah, show price, they ain't actually going to be that much cheaper, it's just like a sale price they always have on it. One of the stalls had a really good sim mattress, and Alana ended up looking at it and she goes, no, I won't worry about
I'll buy it online. I'll have a look at some reviews first, thinking, oh, online it would be a similar why can't I speak today? Similar that one price to the show price, and then realised actually no, the show price was probably half the price of the actual online price. So yeah, kicked myself a bit for that, but live and learn.
Exactly. And there was also quite a cool demonstration by a guy that basically had a shower thing that I almost wish we did buy, because that looked quite cool. Although we did notice a couple of drawbacks in the fact that the lead wasn't very long.
Yeah, you could put it into, it was like almost gravity fed, wasn't it? That you could put the end of it into like a bucket of like any old water or a blooming lake or whatever if you so desired, and it would still pump water over you to shower yourself basically.
But yeah, absolutely fantastic show. Really enjoyed that. Probably won't be going again, only because I don't think there's anything we actually need.
Not enough to justify going, kind of thing.
No. Would the show rotate enough? I'm not so sure.
Can't imagine it changing much.
But
within a year.
Never say never, because whenever we say we're not going to do something,
Yeah, we normally do.
we normally end up going to do it anyway. And then finally, we actually got to do some off-roading. It was Long Min, the second trip.
Oh yeah, that was
Yes.
a little small one. That was a good one.
That was a very good one.
Mm.
Little did we know it would be probably, maybe, who knows, the last time we'll do that full route, because we've just come back from it and there's a section of it shut off, so we did a bit of an adaptation of the route. That video that the Long Min that we've just done, that'll be coming out start of January. I'm just going to say that because we've filmed so much stuff recently.
It's like a little backlog of stuff that will come out at some point in 2025.
What I do is I work super hard, obviously on YouTube. Alana obviously works hard on it as well, but I always take Christmas off per se. I'll still film stuff and I'll dump it onto the laptop. And other than this live stream, that's about as far as it goes, to try and balance out a work-life balance. I don't really want to be hid up here during the holiday season while Alana's off, and she don't get to see me, which might be a shame, isn't it? Might be a blessing for you.
I'd rather you kind of did actually just crack on with YouTube. Consider yourself adult.
But no,
excuse me squeaking away.
That was a fantastic trip, and I believe that was one that I got absolutely soaked on from a certain Darren, if I remember rightly.
I think it was actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Might have tried to recreate that, but with different individuals this year. But I look forward to seeing the footage from that back. We'll have to go through that at some point.
I was going to say, it's funny because I've watched a couple of clips to make sure the file's copied over, but other than that, we've not seen any of the footage back from Long Min at all.
No.
Literally.
Which is very unusual, because normally it's a case of, let's look at so-and-so bit, but no, not this time.
I was going to say, we've actually been so busy over this festive period, it's been unreal.
Yeah.
And then it seems to come in themes, because the next major, I haven't noted out everything on our channel, these are just kind of some of the highlights, was a solo green lane in near to Mallory Park.
Oh, that was really good.
Finding milkshake and ice cream. That
was really good, actually. There were some good green lanes, because we started recceing almost half a route with the view to then leading a few people around, not a particularly local area, but an area somewhat local to us. And then we got probably halfway through the route and ended up calling it, because it took a little bit long. Well, we got distracted by the milkshake and ice cream machine, didn't we, in reality?
Yes.
So then we ended up calling it. We haven't got back out that way since to finish off, have we?
No.
We'll have to do that at some point.
I was going to say, it was probably the best solo green lane that we've done today.
Really good.
Because
I've got a hiccup, sorry.
Timing is everything.
Oh, isn't it?
I sit down way before and I'll look on Trailwise, I'll look at a load of lanes, look at comments, anything that's on there. I'll then look at Google Maps to see if they're easy to see, because some of the green lanes, they exist on Trailwise, but when you look at them on Street View, you cannot find the entrance to them because they're so obscured. And they're the sort of lanes we're not brave enough to do.
No. Brave enough or stupid enough, I'm not sure. Sense of reason sometimes, especially if you go out solo green laning, you're not going to just want to drive into something, it's just going to be a mud ball and you're going to get stuck.
Yes. And also I'll then make sure that I've got them inputted onto my phone, so I can kind of get a rough idea of where we're heading for using the phone. But I also generally print them off onto A4 sheets of paper as well, so if there's no signal or anything like that, I've also got a paper backup so we can get a rough idea of where we're going, because a lot of the times you'll be halfway through a lane and there'll just be zero signal right there. So the chance of zooming in or seeing anything on Google Maps, slim to none, because no signal.
Anyone would think green lanes tend to be in the middle of nowhere. Who the fuck care?
I mean, why don't they put masts out in the middle of green lanes so you have signal out there? I mean, who wouldn't want to be in the middle of a green lane and watch Netflix?
Exactly.
But I plotted quite a few lanes, and we ended up, like Alana said, we did half of them, but then we fell on this fantastic farm that we can only assume that they might use their own milk from the farm.
They do. I looked into it afterwards.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And
it's all like local kind of things.
I was going to say, they had all the ice cream a machine set up in there. Obviously the price was equally as interesting,
of course.
Do you know what, when you pay for local stuff like that,
it was very much almost a novelty thing, wasn't it, at the end of the day?
And the sun was out.
It was a beautiful day.
It was absolutely
and there were
stunning.
sheep.
Yeah.
So I was quite happy watching the sheep. Actually, I think it was like the sort of time of year as well where there were baby lambs.
Yes.
Baby lambs? That's a double negative, isn't it?
Baby lamb, do 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 do, baby lamb, do 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 do, baby lamb, do 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 do, baby lamb. But we ended up just getting to the point of we had the ice cream and stuff like that.
I just realised I look really psycho because I keep looking at the laptop screen, which is just there, instead of looking at the camera, which is there.
Eyeball our viewers.
I know, but I keep kind of like flitting between, so I just look like I'm dozing off.
But we ended up having the milkshake and the ice cream.
We did.
And then we did one last lane and we went, do you know what we're going to call it, because we've had a great time.
Yeah.
We enjoyed the lanes. We got almost right up close and personal with Mallory Park, the race circuit.
That was crazy.
And 100% we'll be doing at least some of them lanes. Hopefully, if I can find them again, in the Yeti, because some of them were perfectly fine to do in the Yeti.
Very much so. Apart from there was one that was quite rutted. I'm not touching that with the Yeti.
Well, yeah.
Do you remember where it was like, yeah, we're going to want a decent amount of momentum through here, because if we dig in, we're probably going to get stuck.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fly through it, but it was definitely a, yeah, you wouldn't want to dawdle along too slow.
No. But yeah, they were some great lanes. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully, we'll do that again in the not too distant future.
Yeah,
but
very much so.
As last year panned out to see, it ends up being maintenance some of the times, and then summer comes around and everything kicks off.
That is very true.
Talking about that, next major point in the year, Freelander 2 off-road group, Vinegar Quarry and Meetup. Something we always look forward to doing.
Very much so.
And do you know what? It didn't let down either.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you actually drove a car.
Yes.
Around actual Vinegar, which is very unusual because it's normally always me doing it as a default.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, credit to 4x4 days. 4x4 days, they run a great site there.
They do. Love that site.
Look
forward to getting the Yeti there.
Yes, there's so much to do. And when I say so much, you can end up getting blinded by the fact that it's almost like so many different ways you can approach things, and you can end up falling into a bit of a rut where you do the same course over and over, not realizing you can kind of vary it up and do it in different ways. And that's before you get to the stuff that's for the more extreme off-roaders.
Although we did blow a shock at some point in the time we were there.
Yeah.
I think we know where it happened. Still suboptimal.
Yes.
It happens though.
Yeah. And hopefully 2025 we'll be doing that again, all being well. Because that's just a great way for everyone that wants to get together on a Freelander to off-road group meet up, because some of the times green lane events can be put on, but
you're always limited as to how many cars can go along, aren't you, at the end of the day? At least somewhere like that, you're limited because they've got a maximum amount of cars they can have, but you're not as limited.
Yeah. So you can all have fun, you can do as much as you want, you can do as little as you want, you can some people just go down there, take pictures, or just catch up with people. But yeah, fantastic day.
Definitely.
We always enjoy it because we get to learn loads about our car, don't we?
Very much so.
It's like learning what the different modes do on the Freelander, how they react to the car differently.
It's that whole like why pay and play is good for people that have not necessarily used their car off road, because it's controlled, it's safe, there's people around to give advice and all of that if you're not sure of anything.
And on top of that,
or to tell you what not to do.
Yes. On top of that, it's also really quite cool to have the comfort of getting stuck, because you don't really want to be down a green lane halfway down it, especially if there's only, like, for example, 2 of you, and you end up going to get stuck because it's a lot of hassle to then get you unstuck, and you've kind of done something because you wanted to try something out to see if it worked, and then it backfires and it doesn't. At least with somewhere like a pay and play or Vinegar, which is a 4x4 experience day, you can get stuck. There's people on hand that will winch you out, or even people that love winching. It's like some people really enjoy winching.
Covering people.
Yeah, I know there's winching competitions and that out there, so I know that winching alone is a hobbyist thing in itself. So yeah, we've had cars. Gary got stuck on top of a hill once.
When he realised quite where the breakover angle was for that specific lump, if you like.
Yeah. But yeah, there's always people on hand. So yeah, if you get a chance to do a pay and play day, then I say go and do one. That's for sure. So. Even if you've got a standard car, you don't have to have a fully kitted out modified car. You can go down in your pretty much. I'd say
as long as it's 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be fine. Chances are, it's like obviously you're going to have certain limitations, that there's going to be things you can't do if you haven't got certain modifications or whatever. But so be it. You can still do a fair whack.
It's like 4-wheel drive, or if you're Michael, have a 4-wheel drive but run it in 2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
because his 4-wheel drive sometimes works.
Spends more time in 2-wheel drive than 4-wheel drive.
Yeah. But yeah, 4-wheel drive, have a spare tyre, or a spare wheel and tyre, just in case the worst happens, you get a puncture.
Ooh, excuse me, sorry.
And have breakdown.
Yes, just in case the worst was to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Joel found out he had his last waltz with his car, you could call it. There was a vinegar. We couldn't attend to it because I think we were doing something else at the time. But there was a vinegar quarry meetup at the end of the year. He took his Freelander 2 for almost one last stance, and unfortunately had a mishap. But even so, he had a mishap, managed to get it off site. Yeah. Got recovery out to him, picked the car up, and he got it dropped off at his house or somewhere.
Yeah, it was all sorted out.
Yeah, it was all sorted out. So, like I say, pay and play 4x4 experience days. Do them. Don't need a highly modified car. No. It helps, obviously, if you have certain levels of protection, but you don't need them. No. Go and talk to some people there, and especially, I think Mike, Adrian, the wealth of experience.
Yes,
in them
they're
too.
Absolutely amazing guys. Yeah.
So
anything they don't know probably ain't worth knowing.
No, that is true. And I think they're quite enjoying their new cars.
Yes.
And then we're off to one thing we didn't do this year, because normally between that and what I'm about to say, we normally do an avalanche, and this year we didn't do it. We kind of missed the boat a little bit. I think timings just didn't quite work out. But we ended up, the next big thing was obviously a Billing off-road show.
It's always a good one.
That is one of our highlights, mainly because it's quite local to us.
Yeah, 100%. It is the most local show, isn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt. It's
quite local to us, but the show itself is massive. Well, I think it's massive. It's one of the bigger ones, I'd say.
It's a big one, that's for sure.
And especially with the off-road course in action as well, that you get to go and watch that. It's definitely one that if that was to ever disappear, I would be gutted. And I'm sure a lot of people would in the off-roading community, not just Freelanders or anything like that.
Not.
So yeah, Billing off-road show. That was another great day. I think the weather was on our side for that day.
Yeah, I don't think it was too bad, was it?
No. We kind of get quite lucky in the grand scheme of things when it comes to the weather, that sort of thing.
Very much so. Very much so.
Lots of stalls there. The only thing is, it's one of the interesting things that it's a shame there isn't more. I don't know if it's the price of stalls at these sort of things, but I wish there was a few more smaller stalls out there, because there's a lot of smaller tyre companies, but I'm guessing it costs a few quid to have a stall at one of them shows. So yeah, the only
thing, it's quite predictable year on year as to what's going to be there at the end of the day, and equally as non-disco defender people, it kind of leaves you as a bit of an outsider, because it's very much tailored towards discos and defenders, isn't it?
I was going to say, we end up playing spot the Freelander bits, and
yeah,
one of the most common bits that we often see is like Haldex is all rear diffs.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see on the auto jumble stall, that sort of thing. Other than that though, other than muddy mods obviously, that have a stall as often as they possibly can, there's not really much out there for Freelanders when it comes to shows.
There isn't in general though, when you think about it, to be fair. There's even less out there for Skoda Yetis.
Yes, that is true. Yetis. The one thing I have noticed though, that the Freelander kind of contingent, there's a lot more Freelanders getting on stands. I think I'm noticing.
They're definitely getting more common, aren't they?
Yeah.
But, excuse me, I don't know if it's because the price of them kind of maybe come down a little bit, so it makes it a little bit more bearable for people to buy them.
I was going to say, it's like when it comes to club stands, that sort of thing, there's a good few Freelander 1s and 2s and that sort of thing, kind of all scattered in amongst all the club stands and bits like that.
We need to find a stand that'll have the Yeti on it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
turn a few heads.
This is going to be a very niche thing, because we're relying on people actually watching this, but if anyone else out there wants a Skoda Yeti to be on their off-road stand or anything like that, drop us a message.
Yeah,
we're
there.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're there. It'll turn a few heads, I'm sure.
It'd be quite interesting, actually, when you think about it.
One of the things we want to say is we do know about Darkside Developments Yeti, because that's always going to be the thing, because everyone...
straight away the default thing that you're always going to think of, which... you know, we're very much aware of, very much not going to take our Yeti to the same level.
And do you know what? We doff our caps
we do.
To Darkside Development, because there's no way we're going to ever get to, even if we wanted to get to that stage of development, let's call it.
I'll have to buy another Yeti to be able to do that.
And I don't think we'll ever be able to drive ours quite how they drove theirs.
I don't know, give it a good go. You saw me go through the mud at Muddy Weekender, right?
Yes. We are obviously taking certain accents from their kind of thing, as you will have seen in one of our latest videos, because we fitted one of their Sump guards onto our Yeti. But yeah, I'd love to see a Darkside development stand at some of these shows, because some of their cars that they've done,
their cars are amazing,
especially their own personal cars, because they're so lucky that not only do they work on obviously customers' cars and do their motorsport side of things, but some of their personal cars are epic. I think it's Rob at Darkside has got I think it's a transporter, VW transporter, I think, and he took it along Strata.
Yes.
In one of the recent videos, and things like that. It's like having a overland VW transporter, stuff that you just don't see every day.
No, definitely not. You should see more.
And I was going to say, if we had the driveway space and we had obviously the money as well, I'd love something like that, because we've often looked at like the Sprinters and
we'd love like a 4x4 Sprinter, but equally we'd never have the space or the money or the need or anything for it.
But it'd be one of the things that, if you ever got the opportunity, that would be great, because they'd make such a, like, especially transporters, because they're the perfect size, that if you make obviously 4-wheel drive transporter, put a bed in the back, that sort of thing, you're onto quite a good overlanding project right there. Next up, almost lost where I was then.
Oh dear.
Simply Land Rover.
Good old Bewley.
You can tell we get to the kind of summer season, because it ends up being show, that sort of thing. And
there needs to be more shows in the winter.
Yeah.
I understand why there's not, because nobody would want to go to them or be on the stands at them, but I still think it would be quite cool.
Yes. Simply Land Rover Bewley, another fantastic show. The greatest highlight of that is the show itself. Land Rovers is great, but you get to walk around the museum like free of charge.
Yeah.
You also get to roam. I think the Top Gear thing is being changed or removed.
That's now gone now.
Yeah.
Which is going. I wonder what they've done with the cars from that.
I don't know if they went to charity or if
they'd have had to go somewhere, wouldn't they?
Hope so. I hope they've gone to the Crusher.
That's what I was just thinking.
But it's just like you get to walk around all that, and I think that, and we did say we were going to do it this year, but
next year.
Well, no, I don't mean the show. I mean, we were going to walk around the gardens.
Oh, I see.
Because we did plan on walking around the gardens. We sat around and said, look, we'll do the museum and then we'll go and walk around the gardens, because the last time we did Bewley, we didn't walk around the garden area, and when we do the monorail, the gardens look fantastic there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't get around to doing it this time either.
But we saw it from the monorail, so we kind of can say that we covered it.
Yeah.
We just covered it from way above while sitting on our bums. Oh God, you nearly got stuck in the monorail, didn't you? I just had a little flashback.
Do you mean on the way in or the way out?
A bit of both. When we went onto the monorail, I wish I was videoing it. We got put, like, they have like little carriage things at the very back of it, and they're literally big enough for 2 people and 2 people only. But the entrance to it is very what should we call it, very narrow. Yeah. And Scott kind of got into it, which was okay. It wasn't dignified. No. But then when it came to getting out of it, he kind of got out of it sideways, but got halfway and kind of got stuck, and he was kind of wedged. And you just see his face literally drop, because you could always see him thinking, "Oh no, I'm stuck."
Yeah, I do think.
Yeah, he got out, obviously. Yes. But oh my God, I was absolutely weeing myself.
There was
so funny.
There was a sheer moment that I'm not gonna lie. I literally thought this is gonna be something that's gonna go viral, as I'm halfway in, halfway out, and there's fire people cutting this monorail thing apart to try and free me out of it. Luckily, like I said, I'm actually reversed back, adjust how I was getting out. Oh, that got my ticker going. That did.
It's just the look on your face. I wish I was filming it, just because you pretty much almost went white as you just kind of went.
I was also conscious that I thought, if I rock the monorail thing too hard, does it then just derail it? Like, will I pull it off the rail?
Oh God!
So, yeah,
that was. Do you know what? That was probably my whole highlight of Bewley.
Yeah,
it was probably my whole highlight of that entire holiday.
Maybe. I was going to say, that was the other
that
thing.
was funny.
Because we always tie it in. We always kind of go away for your birthday.
Yeah.
And...
Did Bewley fall on my actual birthday?
I'm not sure.
I've got a weird feeling it did. Not sure.
Sure.
It has one year, I just don't remember what year.
But yeah, we had fantastic time away at the back of Beyond. Don't mind giving them a shout out at all, because if you want somewhere quiet, relaxing, great camping place, then that's one for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
And a highlight of that holiday has to be the spontaneous dinner that we ended up having, because it was towards the end of our stay, and it might even
very last night.
Yeah, it might have been the last night. We ended up sometimes they have outside catering come onto the site and sell food that way, and was it barbecue or something?
Something like that.
Something along those lines was meant to rock up. The weather was so good that I think there was like a fate or something that this guy had been doing, or the company had been doing, and they just basically run out of supplies, I get the impression, so they weren't able to come to the campsite. And the staff at the back of Beyond, credit to them, there was a guy that was running around with a notepad and a menu, basically giving it out to people that wanted that for dinner, and basically saying, this is your other alternative. Do you want something from, I think it was Indian,
it was an Indian, and they basically just placed a mass Indian order, and then like obviously it came and they were dishing this like bags of food out to everybody, weren't they?
They were. And the best thing of all is Alana was just picture the scene. It was lovely and warm, in t-shirt, perfect weather condition. We'd had a great day out. Alana got a cider, got the taste for it.
We hadn't even eaten that much that day. Oh god!
And it got to the point where I think even Alana, but I think it was more the weather more than the alcohol. But there was a little bit of tipsiness starting to creep in.
Well, I knew there was a tiny bit of tipsiness creeping in when I had one cider. I went back into the bar to get cider number 2. And it felt like the floor was moving as I was walking in there. I was drinking cider and it was making the floor move, It was like, goodness me. It was good fun though. Nice cider as well. Good cider.
I was going to say.
So worth it, but wow, the floor should not move after one cider.
Alana told me, I said, we'll have to get some of this for back home. And I told her, I said, well, that's going to be fine, but it'll never taste half as good as what it tastes right here, right now.
We need to go back there just purely for the cider.
Yes. But that's yet another plan, because we've done it twice in a row. Will we do it again? We're not sure, because we have got ideas floating around.
Yeah, we're not sure what we're going to end up doing.
No. So next year is going to be a year of, we're going to have lots of different things, or we're going to end up doing nothing because we haven't actually planned anything and we've not decided.
We don't normally plan things though, and somehow we still somehow wing it, don't we?
But there is certain things we try to plan further ahead, whether it be for sale reasons, like some of these places they put on cheaper prices if you book them early. So there's odd bits that we sometimes get booked in, and then other bits that we kind of wait till just around the corner.
Yeah, literally the week before.
Yeah. So yeah, that
Who knows?
back and beyond, who knows for 2025. Although if we don't do it, I will be a bit gutted.
Yeah, me too.
That is a lovely holiday.
It very much is.
Oh, Hotel Chocolate have emailed me.
Oh, that's nice. I'm sure they've emailed just you personally.
Yeah, just me personally. They said, do you want some free chocolate?
Did it say hello, Scott?
It said, hello, Scott and Alana.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad they remembered me. I just bit the inside of my cheek.
Oh, nice. They told me, said they're watching the live stream.
Oh, that's good. Send us chocolate.
And then we were we had a gap in between the shows. So what happens? No, we don't go green laning because we don't get time for it. We ended up doing more maintenance on the Freelander.
Oh God, what do we do?
And it was a job that, do you know what? This is a satisfying job, because it was something that we've been wanting to do for a very long time. And we just never got around to it, whether it be because we just haven't researched into it, we hadn't ordered the stuff or anything like that. It was respraying the front grille.
Oh yeah, oh gosh, yeah. That was a very, very, very worthwhile job.
Yes.
Frustrating, but worthwhile.
With Freelanders, with anyone that owns a Freelander, Freelander 2 in particular.
Pre-facelifts.
Pre-facelifts, the front grille, I don't know if it's lacquer peel, paint peel, what the peel is, but it just goes back to its base coat.
Orange peel.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know, our one was getting to a point where it was just getting a bit of an eyesore.
Yeah, that was awful.
And I could look past it, but Alana was approaching the car.
I couldn't. It was all I could see. It was just there, between the grill and then the little bloody side vent things. I just couldn't. No. It was driving me absolutely insane.
So the thing is, we're doing that sort of thing. I think it's with the post facelift. I think the grills might be able to be released. I think they come apart. I could
I don't
be
think
wrong.
they do on any of them.
Do they not?
I don't think so, no. I think it's just the post facelift is easier to partly remove to be able to mask behind or something. I can't remember now.
But it was a job that it's like, well, it kind of needed both of us to kind of be on. It's like, yeah, one, like I could have done it on my own, but it wouldn't have been half as good a job.
Scott would have sprayed the entire bumper.
Yes.
More like.
And it was just like the amount of time to kind of get it prepped. That took a lot longer than I was expecting, because like you read some of the posts on Facebook and YouTube, well, you see bits on YouTube, and people are using like the Scotch-Brite, and do you know what? It kind of worked, but in the end, we resorted to sandpaper. Yeah, the sandpaper's a bit harsh, and the overall finish is probably not perfect.
I remember you doing that while I was at work, and
Yes.
I remember you sending me a message like, "It's not coming off."
It's like, considering it was flaking, like literally, there was so much of it flaking off. You'd think that as you touched it, it'd fly off. Wrong. It was on there.
You should with your finger and it should come off.
But that was a very satisfying, worthwhile job.
Very, very worthwhile. Very, very glad that we did it as well.
And every time I know that every time I look at the Freelander, I do look at the grille thinking, that looks good.
Yes, very much so.
And I have to say, one of the things that I'm always concerned about is, because I don't know if it's that we don't back ourselves or we're just not experienced enough, but we always turn around and say, well, it's fine spraying it and everything, but how long is it actually going to last? Because you can do all this work, and if you don't do it correctly, you give it one wash and it's all just coming back off again. And
especially with the pasting that we give the car when it then gets splattered in mud and everything, it's kind of like, well, is the mud then just going to take the paint off of the grille?
But fortunately, so far, touch wood, it's sound.
In there, isn't it?
We've noticed a couple of bits, but I think that's just maybe a couple of bits we've missed.
Yeah, potentially. And it's kind of the bits where it's almost underneath the grill, or like where it's the bits that you'd never get to anyway. Considering it started raining when we did the very last coat of paint as well, which was less than ideal. Or not raining, but Michelin, but still.
I was going to say, the side vents, they were good fun as well.
Yeah.
Just trying to get in and sand them down and prep them, with the fact they're all like little honeycomb bits. But yeah, more work done on the Freelander.
Yes.
But that wasn't too bad a job, because on the grand scheme of things, it's not as if it was too expensive.
No, not at all.
It's like normally...
A few cans of paint and job done, isn't it?
I was going to say, normally when it comes to maintenance, things can get expensive.
Very much so.
And then, what do you think we did next? Green laning or maintenance?
You serviced the car?
Nope. It went to Muddy Mods for Warren to get rid of our rust patch.
Oh, yeah.
Our car was showing a bit of age inside the back door, and I think we just went through a bit of a patch where we're like, do you know what, there's a few jobs kicking around that we kept saying we need to get on top of. It's that typical thing you think, well, it don't benefit the car really a huge amount. It's like the front grille, yeah, it's got a bit of flaky paint, but it doesn't reduce its horsepower, its functionality or anything like that. It's purely aesthetic.
Yeah.
The same as the rust, although I do get the impression of where that rust is, it can be an MOT issue.
Yeah, if it gets too bad.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad we got on top of that. One of the things I am a bit surprised about is Warren did say that normally when one side goes, the other side goes at the same time, so you end up doing them both. We're quite fortunate, I think.
Yeah, if you could call it that.
To only need to do one side.
Yeah.
But yeah, we sent it up to Muddy Mods. Warren absolutely worked his magic. When it comes to welding, what he can do is nothing less than spectacular.
Yes, it's amazing.
He is so good when it comes to metal work.
Kind of would look at the car now and not realise that it ever had a rust patch there in the first place. Now it's all sort of covered, painted, blown in, whatever they do, I don't know.
And one of the great things was Warren himself, I think, almost impressed himself, because there was no filler used in the process.
No.
Like, it's hard to explain, but basically you get like a patch of new metal that you basically weld into place. But to get everything so exact that you don't need to fill the odd bit with filler is one of them things that I don't think it's a too normal thing. It's like normally if you cut it a bit short or something like that, you need a bit of filler to kind of touch it in.
You could tell that he was used to doing it with his eyes closed pretty much.
Yes. And it's also like, because we were saying between us before we were collecting it, we didn't know if he was just literally just welding that patch in, and then it was down to us to kind of colour code it in, that sort of thing. But no, he sprayed it in and everything. You open up the door now, and unless you know it's been done, you wouldn't know it's there.
I wouldn't even remember which side it was done on anymore, I don't think, to be fair.
No. So if you need any repair work done on your Freelander 2, or Freelander 1, or Land Rover product in general,
Yeah,
contact Muddy Mods, because they're
definitely the place for it, that's for sure.
worth their weight in gold.
They are.
For that sort of thing. And also, if you're not on the Muddy Freelander page, I think it's Muddy Freelander or Muddy Mods, but Warren posted pictures.
Yeah, he posts it on Muddy Freelander and on the Muddy Mods page sometimes.
But some of the welding that he does, and it just like,
Yeah, it's amazing.
really is. Next up, Muddy Weekender.
I need to get tickets for next year for that.
Yes, I was going to say, it's funny, you know how we're talking about things that we do plan ahead of time? This is something that...
That's one of them.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have nailed in, but Alana keeps forgetting.
I do. I'm actually going to do that this evening.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to get tickets for Muddy Weekender sorted.
So if anyone watches this live stream, comment down below, ask Alana, did she get the tickets sorted? Because the answer will probably be, no, she did, she forgot.
Yeah, I did something else instead.
But no, and Muddy Weekender, if you've got a Freelander and you've got Facebook, join the Muddy Freelander page and get yourself booked into Muddy Weekender. Absolute fantastic weekend.
Yes.
It starts from Friday, and then you can stop there until Monday morning, I think, is the latest.
Yeah, it's Friday. Well, you don't have to actually stop at all, but you can camp from Friday afternoon basically to Monday morning, and then obviously it's off-roading on the Saturday and Sunday.
And the best thing of all is, if you've been to the Bin and Off-Road Show, you'll know the course anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not just the Lakeside course, it's both the Riverside and Lakeside course.
Yeah.
One's done in the morning, one's done in the afternoon, then it's switched around for the next day. Them courses...
They're brilliant courses.
Like, if you want to test your Freelander, Billing's probably a perfect place.
It is very much a similar principle as well to any pay and play things at the end of the day. It's like, if you're not familiar with the course, there's people that are happy to take you around in their cars.
Yeah.
That is a passenger. Or it's same again if you get stuck or you need advice about whatever it may be, there's people around. It's yet another controlled environment,
And the great thing of all is that if you want somewhere to take your partner to introduce them to like the off-road world, because we've had comments on our YouTube channel about like people that have got Freelanders but their partner won't let them take it off-road. Muddy Weekender is a great place to go because you get introduced to like the people there and you get to feel the vibe, the environment, that sort of thing before you go off-roading if you turn up late on the Friday afternoon. But also, like Alana said, passenger rides and stuff like that, you don't necessarily have to use your own car to start off the bat. You can go in, whether it be Warren's car, because Warren's car ends up doing lap after lap after lap, and he's great at what he does.
There's so many people that are willing to take people around. It's like I've taken people around that haven't been particularly, familiar with the course and that, and it's like, I don't mind doing it, I'm not by any means one of the most experienced drivers of the course, but I've done my fair share of laps, shall we say.
Yes, but I know there's a lot of partners that aren't interested in off-roading and they still go along because when I was filming the last one, I don't know whose partner it was, but she was walking the dog and she was having a great time, like watching everyone go round, walking the dog. That's
the thing, and it's the same as it's like the campsite. It's like if you've got somebody with you that's not particularly interested, they can sit at the campsite and read a book all day. There's plenty of other things that you could do.
Yes.
And overall, it's just a bloody good weekend, isn't it?
Do you know what? And it's funny because we haven't said about it, but the weather on the Saturday was atrocious.
It was awful.
Was atrocious. But do you know what? It did not dampen the weekend one bit.
Well, it did, literally.
Well, literally, it dampened the weekend.
Yeah. The afternoon kind of came into its own though, didn't it? 'Cause it dried up and it thankfully made it ever so slightly better.
It did. But yeah, we were. I was out filming. Alana was out filming. We were drenched to the skin. The marshals were out still marshalling. Yeah. We were all soaked to the bone. But do you know what? None of us were kind of there. Oh, this is rubbish, isn't it? No. It was nothing but, oh, isn't this great?
Yeah.
Even though, like, when you thought it was wet, it got wetter.
I remember wringing my socks out because they were that wet afterwards when we stopped for lunch. And I think it might have been the same with my leggings or something as well, because they were just, you know, when you get that wet that your clothes are stuck to you.
Yeah.
It was horrible. The inside of my wellies got so wet that I was squelching when I walked. I remember walking along the top of the course and it just being like, I was walking. And I said to somebody, I can't remember who it was, but I said to somebody about it, and they were like, "Are you sure it's not you?" I'm like, "It's definitely my feet."
But
oh no, that was awful, but great at the same time.
What made it even funnier, and someone actually posted a comment on one of our shorts on the Sunday on the Lakeside course, the V Gully section.
Yeah.
Someone actually wrote in there, "Where's all the water?" And you would not believe the day before, Saturday afternoon, literally no more than about 12 hours before. We couldn't go through it because I think, didn't Louis go through it?
Louis went through it to like try it out, and was straight away like, no, not wise, because there was that much water in it because of how wet it had been.
And then come the next day, literally 12 hours later.
Bone dry, not quite bone dry, but there was like a little puddle in the bottom, weren't they, pretty much?
I was going to say, everyone was looking there going, well, is it open? And then when they got there, they went, oh, because it was literally like nothing more than a little puddle in the bottom. It was like, wow, you couldn't...
Because I did the same myself, didn't I? Because I went, well, I'm not going to go through it because there's going to be too much water in it. I was like, oh, it's fine. There was more water in it last year, sort of thing.
But yeah, that was a brilliant weekend. Weather actually turned out to be all right in the end. Also, congratulations, I was going to say gratulations then, to Beth and Steve. I have to get the names out because there's different Steve, and all that jazz.
Too many people with similar names.
But Beth and Steve, because they actually, Steve proposed to Beth Muddy Weekender, and
in the mud run.
It was, for those of you that don't know them or haven't been to Muddy Weekender, it's one of the things, it sounds odd, but it was
perfect for them. It was perfect for them.
It was absolute perfect.
It was.
So congratulations to them, because I get the impression that was a long time in the making.
I think it was a year in the making at least.
Yes. We got that into it a while before, but I think it was well into motion even before then.
I think it had been planned from the previous year kind of thing.
Which is crazy. But yeah, that was a nice little topper on that one. You should know what happens because we're getting towards the end of the year.
Oh, come on, I still don't know what I had for breakfast this morning.
It was another show.
It was LRO.
It was LRO.
I remember that because it's literally straight off the back of Muddy Weekender.
LRO, it makes me giggle so much. Literally, like the Friday when we got there, blazing like sun. It was glorious. It wasn't too hot.
No, it wasn't. I was just thinking, was it hot for LRO? But no, that was last year. We were absolutely dying because of the heat.
Yeah. I was going to say, the weather was pretty spot on overall.
Right,
Setting up, fine, great. I checked the weather before.
Was it windy when we were setting up there?
Maybe
a
little
weirdest
bit.
feeling. I remember our tent nearly blowing away.
I was going to say...
No, that was Muddy Weekender. I was
Maybe.
setting up for Muddy Weekend. Do you remember how windy it was?
And
literally, I turned around and said, any minute now, this tent is just going to be gone. Because I remember being one end of the tent and you being the other, and the whole thing was just going in the air.
I was going to say, packing down was good fun as well.
Yeah, that was horrible.
But yeah, LRO, like the Friday when we got there to set up, perfectly fine. That was great. The Saturday, I always check the weather forecast before we leave, because pretty much when you get there, once you get more than a certain amount of people on the site, the mast gets overloaded and you just have no signal until nightfall. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, woke up the next day and the forecast was set for, it was meant to be a bit miserly on the Saturday, and then it was going to clear up and be a nice day. We did not expect it to be kind of, the weather to be as rubbish as it was. I mean, the weather really...
It was really, 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 really wet. To the point that we had a puddle in the little porchy bit of our little tent that there was no saving. It was just that wet.
Do you know what? The show still kicked off and it was a great show. It just made it a bit more of an endurance.
It made it quite an endurance, and it made walking around, particularly on the Saturday, not all that fun because of just grass, people walking, cars driving, wet, mud, combined. It's never a good thing, is it?
No. And that pretty much didn't leave us. Even the nighttime, the entertainment, I think it was still a bit miserly in a bit.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly great, was it? But then the Sunday, beautiful sunshine, and it completely made up for it, didn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say the Sunday it turned out to be.
It's quite warm as well on the Sunday. I think.
I was going to say
it?
we were really fortunate because one of the things that whenever we do Muddy Weekender, Back and Beyond, or anything like that, all that we want is it to be a dry morning so we can get the tent packed away dry.
Yes.
And I think that's what a lot of people want. They don't want to be packing away a soaking wet
Which we
tent.
didn't have when we finished Back and Beyond because
No.
it rained when we packed the blimmin' tent down.
Yes. And then
But hey ho.
cue me setting it up in the back garden or trying to try and dry it out. But yeah, we were really fortunate that come the Sunday that the weather just was lovely, packed everything down, everything dried off because we ended up leaving it set up for longer than what we wanted because we thought, well, we'll let it dry up naturally, so at least then it's packed away all dry. And the Sunday the show was fantastic.
It was
Walking around in a nice weather and all that. It's just the only downside is the shame is the Saturday all the stalls are there from when the show starts all the way to the show ends. The Sunday all the stands are obviously there when the show starts, but it dwindles very quickly.
Lunchtime and pretty much everything's packed up and everyone's ready to go home.
Yes. So it's like if you haven't walked around the whole show by about lunchtime, you start missing out on bits and that sort of thing. Obviously, it's one of them shows that it's the end of the season, and for a lot of companies, they might have made their profits or anything like that. So for them to have to stay till the dying moments probably doesn't interest them because they just want to get back. They may have a very long journey ahead of them and they might have work the next day. But it is sometimes a bit of a shame, really, when you're walking around and people are packing their stuff up and you're like, hang on a minute, it's still like 3-4 hours left of this show. But other than that, definitely a good show.
Very much so.
Hopefully we can go again, but it's another one because it's so far away from us. It's not
that far.
No.
That one's another relatively close one. It's only an hour and a half away, isn't it?
Yeah, but even so,
you still have to commit the whole weekend if you want to stay on a stand there at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We will see what the year holds.
Definitely. Play the game. What's next? I don't think you'll get this one.
No idea.
We actually tried something a bit different, and I'm glad we did. And it was something that I've kind of had an eye on for a long time. Dunsfold collection.
Oh yeah, that was good though.
Because I've looked at the Dunsfold collection, and for those of you that don't know, basically, the dad of who owns Dunsfold collection, he's passed it down to his son, but basically he started collecting prototype cars and all the sort of cars that normally meet the crusher, like during development phases, or iconic cars, whether they be from shows or something like that. Pretty much all, is it all Land Rovers?
I believe so.
Might be. But yeah, it's a load of really fascinating, and it's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, you could say. But the issue with it...
It's not a guilty pleasure of mine, I still enjoy it.
The issue is you've got to buy tickets quite early for it. You can't buy it... Generally, you can't buy tickets a week before when a show's going to happen.
They release tickets and they only release a limited run ticket, and when they release them, they tend to sell out pretty damn quickly.
Yeah, and I can't remember how often they do shows, but it's not
only
like...
a few times a year, isn't it?
Yeah, that they open the collection. The great thing about it is they do generally vary up their stock. So if you've been to one of them, you can go back the next one they do and you'll probably see some different cars in the collection, that sort of thing. But what fascinates me the most is the prototype Freelander ones, like when they were developing it, when it was just an idea and stuff that doesn't normally see the public eye because it's not as finished guys. It's just a load of parts fitted together to almost prove, does this actually work? What do we need to tweak? That sort of thing. And then all the way up to cars that have been to press, that they've built the car, but it's not been released to public, but it's been given to the press to say, look, this car's pretty much the final product, but not 100%. So at least they can get the telly shots done, that sort of thing. And then some of the random stuff, it was like, you found the one with the elephant.
Yeah,
quite funny.
There was quite an interesting bit where, I'm not going to try and explain it. If you find our video, it'll kind of explain it better there. But a car that they actually used to put a physical live circus elephant on and drive, basically looking underneath the elephant's bum, I think it was. So it was, just absolutely insane. But
if you get a chance and you want to see some really fascinating cars, definitely go to the Dunsfold collection.
Yes.
The guy there, I know on R1, and I'm assuming he does it on all of them. He does a little talk outside. They have a few vehicles put outside that they take for a little run up and down. that's always fascinating to see, because it's great going to these museums and seeing cars on display.
Yeah.
But you know, the chances are that if you lifted the bonnet, they've probably not got any engines in or anything like
It's
that.
great to actually see and hear them running, isn't it?
Exactly. But yeah, that was something that I'd said to Alana in 2023 that we saw it, and I said, oh, I'd really like to go to that. And I made a kind of point that between us, we kept a little eye.
We did.
And then when the tickets come available, I said to Alana, I was like, look,
We're going.
I really would like to go. So we ended up booking tickets. I can't remember how many months before.
Oh, it was like a long time before, wasn't it?
So yeah, that was quite a lot of fun.
It was. That was great.
And yet again, another fantastic weather day.
Very much so.
And we also got to meet up Tom and Chloe.
Yeah.
And
a few
also,
people, wasn't there?
I think Phil was there.
Phil was there, and I think Steve was there.
Yeah,
as well.
Steve was there. So we got to meet up with a few
I'm
people.
sure there was somebody else as well.
That's just remind me. That's why we didn't do the vinegar trip, because I think
Oh, it was on the same day, wasn't it?
I think it was same day, same weekend or something.
The second, Org vinegar trip was on the same day as Dunsfold, and we'd already brought tickets for Dunsfold when the Org date, vinegar date was released. Hence why not doing the second vinegar.
That I was gonna say.
We were glad to do Dunsfold instead, to be fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a horrible calendar clash, because in a
It
perfect
was.
world we would have obviously tried to do both if we could have.
Generally speaking, that never happens, but for some reason on that one occasion it did, didn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So yeah, that was a bit annoying, but it was one of the things, and we'd already got the tickets, and like I said, I'd really wanted to go to Dunsfold. Really happy that I went.
Yes.
Will we go again to Dunsfold? I'm sure we will go at some point, but
it's not something that we'll necessarily do at the start of next year, sort of thing.
No, one of the things I do want to do is Gaydon. I think it's
British Motor Museum.
That's the one.
You need to look into that one.
Yeah, I was
They
going
have
to
a
say.
Land Rover show there, don't they?
I think it's
people don't tend to rate it all that highly, but it's still worth doing.
Yes, I think that might be the start of the season. I could be wrong, but
I'll have a look into that as well. I need a little notepad to start writing things down, don't I?
Sorry, you got a live stream you can watch back
Good point. Might have to.
Even though I don't think the Land Rover kind of show side of it is particularly massive, I could be wrong, because obviously we've not been there. But I think that's another one you get free admission to the museum.
Yeah, I believe so.
So it's just like, well,
use the show for the admission to the museum in a way.
Almost. It's like you could do the museum on its own and pay obviously for that, but it's almost like you get two birds, one
Very
stone.
much so.
You
It's
get
like Beauty, isn't it? At the end of the day.
So hopefully, you never know. Maybe we'll go to that show. Maybe instead of one of the others. Who knows?
Anything's possible.
I'll leave it down to the boss to decide.
Who's that? Robot.
And then we had fun with shows. Back to maintenance. Turbo actuator.
Oh yeah. That was your fun. That was.
Yes.
I was just working at that point.
Oh, that was a fun occasion. Can you stop banging that foot thing?
I'm finding it quite satisfying to fiddle with my feet. I don't know why.
It's quite annoying.
I apologise.
Yeah, Freelander. We were doing shopping and that sort of thing, and on the way back of one of the trips.
I'm such a child.
On the way back from one of the just generic shopping trips, I think we'd noticed that something wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, we got the whole reduced engine performance message come up, and then it kept going in and out of limp mode. 1 minute it was in limp mode to the point where there's a little hill by us.
I just so happened to be driving as well, didn't I?
Yeah, literally, I wouldn't say it's anything particular, this hill.
No, not at all.
And Alana turned around and said to me, I'm flat out. I'm literally
Getting
flat
like
out.
30 miles an hour up the hill, probably wasn't even that.
In like third gear or something. It was barely crawling up this hill. We was going to pull into like direct to home, and it cut back, like we ended up getting power back, went for a bit more of a drive.
Did it again.
Yeah.
Then it was fine, then did it again.
Anyway, I did a scan or whatever, and I think I worked it out to be turbo actuator. Basically, there's a little mechanism that pulls on a rod pretty much, and it just basically opens and shuts the turbo. I'm explaining this really badly, I know. But when that fails, and they do after a period of time, they basically stay stuck closed, or they just give up working. That was a lot of fun to get to, because it's one of them things that if you're on a 4-poster ramp, you can get to quite easily. But seeing as we don't own a 4-poster ramp, and I was laying on the very cold ground, kind of doing it on my back, you kind of have to reach forward quite hard. We got that replaced. Looking back, I'm kind of... It was only because we needed the car working. I'm a bit gutted the route that we took, because as much as it has solved our issues, I think for the most part, we still have a couple of glitches here and there that we need to work through. Basically, the actuator is mated up to the turbo itself, and we had quite a good actuator, even though it didn't work. The type of actuator was on it that was quite good. I don't know how good the actuator we have on the car now is, because there was no branding on it or anything like that. I think it was like we replaced the Hella actuator with a non-branded one, and it works. But yeah, like I said, there's a few glitches that I'm just trying to get on top of, to hopefully sort out over the course of time. But I wish I'd got the one we had on it reconditioned rather than just getting a replacement. But like I said,
it all happened right before LRO, ironically, didn't it? So it was kind of a case of we needed it sorted before LRO, because up until I think it was like the Thursday before LRO, we didn't even know if we were going to get to LRO because of it.
So we were right up against the clock, and to the point where when the car had gone wrong, I actually said to Alana, I said, well, we're not going to LRO. Like, I did not think there'd be any chance that we could fix it, because at the start, I didn't even know what was wrong. And then when I did realise what was wrong, there was half a chance that we'd be able to get there. And luckily...
I still remember you being like, we'll just take the car as it is. I'm like, I'm not taking the car that's likely to go into limp mode up the A1. It's like, no.
But luckily, changed the actuator. Everything
all good.
Went back to life. Like I say, watch the video, because there's a few hits and tips in there that, like, get a new C-clip and use a magnetic screwdriver, that sort of thing, that will pay dividends in the long run. And then after that, we're coming up to the future. Well, not the future, but almost to the present. Excuse this motorcyclist if you can hear it. Don't think that has an exhaust.
That sounds a bit broken, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Sounded a bit like a wet fart.
The next big thing, and it's probably the biggest thing that we've done for a long time, purchasing the Yeti.
Woohoo! That sounded really sarcastic.
A little bit. Do you not appreciate your Yeti?
Apparently not.
God.
I don't know why it came out like that.
Do you know what? This was something that, was it a bit impulsive? A little bit, probably.
I wouldn't say it was impulsive as such. It was kind of more one of those. I don't know. Was it? Yeah, I suppose it kind of was impulsive, but at the same time, we did think about it quite a lot before buying it. So no, impulsive is something you do suddenly, isn't it?
Well,
no,
a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just how it developed, because we've always turned around and said the words, what would we get to go alongside the Freelander 2? And we've always had ideas of, oh, perhaps this, perhaps that, perhaps something else. But
I've always said, whatever car I used to replace the Clio that I had, well, still have technically, would be a 4x4, just because ultimately road conditions and everything, just day to day, a 4x4 is more practical. You haven't got to be so paranoid about potholes and all of that fun stuff. But it was always a case of what 4x4 would it be, because we wouldn't want something the same size or bigger than the Freelander necessarily. But then when you think of a smaller 4x4, you're kind of quite limited at the end of the day, short of obviously your natural chimneys and things like that, which tend to be quite expensive and then almost too small.
Yes.
Same as a 4x4 Panda.
Yeah. So we ended up kind of like going down this bit of a wormhole.
Started off as an Evoque, ironically, until I ran an insurance quote, and it was going to cost about $2,000 plus to insure an Evoque for a year, which is probably 4 times what I'd pay on any other car for insurance.
Yeah.
Good old green oval.
But we ended up, it's funny because when we were looking at kind of heading down this direction, I don't know why, I think it's because I fall upon this job, but generally, even though it was going to be a Lana car, you're obviously in charge of buying it, that sort of thing. Yeah. I end up shortlisting cars.
Oh, I've just remembered, because when we ruled out the Evoque, I went between a Dacia Duster and then the Yeti, and I was swaying more towards the Duster.
Yeah.
But it's purely because I was coming from a French car previously. And then Scott said to me, but if we were to buy a Duster, then chances are we probably wouldn't work on it ourselves. Which then very, 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 very quickly made me go, Yeti.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you went down the route of researching absolutely everything about Yetis.
I was going to say, it was really quite...
Pretty much anyway.
It was really quite fascinating, because when I was kind of researching them and stuff like that, it was quite easy to the most part, because we generally knew that unless there was critical flaws within certain Yetis, it was more likely going to be a diesel. like almost
that
a
was
given.
that was a no-brainer anyway,
Yeah.
because ultimately for the commute and everything that I do as it is at the minute, and just generally a diesel suits better. A petrol car is, you know, it just goes through fuel quite a lot.
Yeah. And the other thing was obviously engine size. Well, the diesel, there isn't a huge amount of variation in Yetis. That it was going to be a 2 litre, because I think that's
the only one they do, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just the brake horsepower figure almost that differs between Yetis.
Oh, was that your shoulder that
wasn't-
just clicked?
That wasn't my
That was
shoulder.
quite impressive.
But we ended up shortlisting a load of cars.
We.
Well, to a point it was we,
Yeah, a
because
little bit.
I would shortlist them,
Yeah.
then I'd shove them in front of you after you finished work and go, Alana, sort through these.
Yeah.
That,
Don't like the colour of that one. I don't
Yeah.
like that one. That one looks funny. That one, that.
it started off as like, okay, and it's going to be a diesel and X, Y, and Z. Then it turned into like, I built up a massive spreadsheet full of drop down boxes, that sort of thing. Like, it was all quite designed quite artfully, you could say. Different years, mileages, location, where they are in the country, what optional extras they have on them, that sort of thing. Because it quickly got to the point that Alana sent me quite an easy task of, I just want a Skoda Yeti. Blah, blah, blah. Then it turned into, I want a Skoda Yeti with this and that and that.
Yeah,
then
I wanted a facelift one, and then I decided I wanted a white one. Then I decided I wanted. No, I think they were the two main criteria, wasn't they?
I was going to say there were certain
Oh,
bits.
and then we didn't want an L&K because we didn't want the electric sunroof or the sunroof. What's it called? Panoramic sunroof.
Because for those of you that don't know, the Pano sunroof on them has a horrible habit of leaking.
Yes.
I get the impression that it's
Because
almost.
I just don't like them personally.
No.
I'm a bit weird like that.
I get the impression the Pano roofs are almost too big.
Falling off the chair.
They're almost too big and they flex and it creates a water leak or something like that. So basically, L&K's ruled out, which ruled out a massive chunk.
Ruled out about 95% of the Yetis, didn't it?
It's like I've had an L&K Octavia, old one, PD, back in the past. And
Just to get that in there.
do you know what? Trying to find an L&K back then would have been nigh on impossible because they were so rare. Because generally the L&Ks are limited edition to a point.
Apart from if you get a Yeti,
Yeah.
in which case every car is an L&K. They must have given them away.
It's like, I don't think they were actually a limited edition, but I think they do a certain run of them. I don't think they're just kind of like unlimited run of that model. Although it might be different with Yetis, I'm not sure. But no word of a lie, there was so many Yetis. There might still be. There are Lauren and Clemett's top of the range. And yeah, for us, some of the colourings were interesting.
Yeah.
Because that was another thing that put you off.
Yeah, there was awful lot of cream interiors and things like that, and it's like, no, it's not practical.
No.
I take my hat off to absolutely anybody that has a cream interior in a car. It's not for me.
No.
I get in the car covered in dirt far too often from working.
I was going to say, one of the greatest things with the Yeti that really persuaded me, even though it wasn't my car or anything like that, was when I actually researched into them, the underpinnings, almost like a drivetrain, is so similar to the Freelander. So understanding how they work is a lot easier when you come from something like the Freelander, because they have a pretty standard front axle drive shaft setup, and then like in the Skoda world, it's called the angle drive or bevel box or power. There's all sorts of names, but basically it's the PTU of a Freelander too. It changes direction of the drive 90 degrees to send it to the back. Then it connects up to the Haldex, which is the same as the Freelander to the rear diff, and then obviously across that way. So it's just one of the things that it's like, well, hang on a minute, we're halfway already to kind of roughly understanding how the Yeti works. Whereas with the Dacia Duster, I don't think that has a Haldex. I think that just relies purely on ABS sensors, and
it's a complete unknown in some sense.
it's almost the more traditional basic four-wheel drive setup. In if you just monitor the wheel speeds of each wheel and then brake the wheels accordingly, it's almost like that sort of setup, I believe. I don't think there's much more than that to Dacias and other four-wheel drive cars that are four-wheel drive just to transport family people around, not necessarily for the off-road capability. Even though I think it's Adam the Explorer, I think his name is.
Yeah.
What he does with his Dacias is
quite impressive.
Mind-blowing. And I'd love to meet the guy, because where he puts his Dacia, he shouldn't put Dacias. No. Especially, I think there's a whole few clubs of them or something that do
similar to the Freelanders in some respect.
That what they end up doing is just phenomenal. But they are very capable cars. But we ended up purchasing the Yeti, which the point I was going to come to, this Yeti that we actually brought, it was at the top of our list, and ranked almost #1. And it was a long, I don't know if it was a month, 2 months or something like that.
It wasn't that long. It was probably a month from finding it to actually getting to the point of going, okay, we can go and look at it at this point.
Because we had to sell Alana's Mini first, but more for the fact of driveway space, nothing else. So we had to kind of like, things were pending on that. So this car was sat #1, but we always knew, well, let's face it, by the time we get around to purchasing it,
it'll be gone.
It's going to be sold to someone else. It's almost too good of a model. And even now, we're still looking as if to say, what's wrong with this car? Because it was always our #1 choice. The interior was perfect. The exterior is perfect. The history is perfect for what we wanted. Spec level better than what we wanted. And then lo and behold, when we got the opportunity to go and view it, it was still there, still available.
Yeah.
And we took it for a test drive, and it ticked all our boxes.
It did, very much so.
We're not the best buyers of cars.
No.
At the end of the day, it starts up, it goes forwards, it goes backwards, it turns left and right, and it stops. I was going to say,
we look at all the sort of stuff that you kind of can do. It's just normal people, but short of having a car on a ramp, what can you do?
Exactly. So, yeah, we ended up purchasing it.
We did. Very
happy with it. Got it back, obviously shot a video or two on the way back from literally picking it up. That was fun keeping that quiet, because
that was horrible, because we'd kind of almost given a teaser to a few people that we're friends with, a week or 2 weeks before we actually got the car, or were properly looking at getting the car. And then I've got a big mouth, so the probability of me saying something to somebody, for me, it was actually quite hard to not give away what the car was.
Yes. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to keep quiet and not say anything about. And also, while we were filming other videos, to kind of like forget that we'd brought it or were planning to buy it or stuff like that, to try and not put it into videos, just in case things went awry, that sort of thing.
Definitely.
But yeah, that was good fun to keep quiet, and also to actually get purchased. And
you started talking very robotic then.
A little bit.
So you had a bit of a brain delay going on.
Because I was thinking, what's the next thing? Because I was hoping to memorise it while I was talking, and I couldn't think of it. Next thing is our Lake District trip. And do you know what?
Green laning, not green laning.
Yes. Do you know
That's
what?
a good trip, actually.
That was a fantastic trip. For those of you that don't know, basically, it was something we'd organised ages ago.
Oh, gotcha.
But we got this green laning trip organised, all set up, everything like that. You end up booking
booked accommodation.
And the accommodation,
quite a while in advance.
Like, we've booked stuff in the past and got to it and gone,
it'll do.
Yeah, like, images always flatter places.
They do.
I'm sure everyone knows that when you go on holiday, hotel, that sort of thing. Images always flatter. You get there and you go, it's not quite as good as the images or something like that.
Yeah.
But this place was probably better than
nice.
the images.
It was really nice.
Absolutely, wonderful place. We ended up going out for a meal. For those of you that know us, you'll know that we're not, I don't know if it's the most sociable people or anything.
We're not very ballsy when it comes to going out for food. The probability of us going into a chippy, getting a chippy, and taking it back to where we're stopping and just slobbing it and just eating it there's 95% chance of us doing that. And we went sod it, and we went to an Italian. Walked in, sat down, actually ate a proper sit-down meal at a very, very nice Italian, actually, didn't we?
I was going to say, the food was amazing.
Lovely.
I'm not going to lie, the prices were equally as amazing.
So worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd pay it 10 times over.
We'll go back there again.
Very much so.
But yeah, we end up, unbeknown to us at this point though, while we were eating our food, there was an email. Was it an email or a message?
It was an email sitting on my email inbox, basically saying that the trip was cancelled because of vehicle failure, should we call it?
Yes, catastrophic failure. But obviously this was when up there was another storm going through. Can't remember what that storm's name was. But we're kind of glad, because had the trip even gone ahead, I don't know how.
Well, we woke up to snow on the Saturday, so we'd have been setting off in snow, which would, it's one of those. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. But still. I don't want to do the Freelander down, because we're always surprised by what it can do. But with the weather down at the level we were at, and it being snowy, sleety, that sort of thing, that if we climbed high up into any sort of hills or anything like that, I think it would have got very snowy very quick. And we've done Long Mind in the snow and ice, and it was perfectly fine on warm tires.
That was
on incredibly warm tires.
Yes. So I'm sure the Freelander will have dealt with it fine. And I think there was a few people from the Freelander 2 off-road group. They were over in Yorkshire.
They did go out in the snow and they were absolutely fine.
Yeah, they managed to get through. I think they got stuck a few times, but they still got through it. So I'm sure we would have been fine. But how enjoyable would it have been?
Yeah,
it would have been
open
interesting.
to perception.
So it's just like, it's one of them catch-22 situations. But anyway, trip didn't happen. At the start, I was a bit bummed, I must admit, because
you weren't a bit bummed. You were bloody bummed. He was bordering on depressed about it, and I was like, "Yeah, we'll just make the best of what we've got at the end of the day. There's no point letting it ruin the trip at the end of the day." So no. Yeah.
So we ended up looking on the internet like that night, and then also
we were going to go on a boat trip, but the boat trip got cancelled because of the weather. I was kind about that.
Definitely.
We used to go back there just for the boats.
Yeah, 100%. We ended up just basically driving to random places in the area,
which is what we normally do.
Yeah, and we ate so much good food.
I mean, too much good food.
The sugar finery place that we went to, oh my god, it was phenomenal.
It was. It was. It was well worth. It was a nice little trip.
Yes. So in the end, that panned out really well. Obviously, the video that we anticipated to make was very different to the one that actually got made.
Yeah.
But no, we'll definitely go back to the lakes, but we'll go much more quick, because the downside was there is obviously so much to do in that sort of area. But Alana said to me kind of like at the night time, it's all pretty much walking, hiking, trails.
Yeah.
And all we had was, I had my welly boots and
we didn't go equipped for walking because we didn't anticipate we were going to be. So we'll go back there again, but with actual kit to go walking with, sort of thing. You know, you're not going to go walking in just your generic trainers, you know.
Because I said to Alana,
I'm not anyway.
I'd really like to walk up a big hill or something and get some nice pictures.
By big hill, he means mountain.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
You ain't going to get one of them around that way, though.
Well, I don't know. There was a few good viewpoints that I saw on Google Maps.
Good hills, but
yeah.
But
that's why I said walk up a decent sized hill. Basically, just get to the top and kind of like get some pictures, that sort of thing. But obviously, Alana just kept saying, "Well, that's fine, but the choice of footwear we have probably isn't perfect for that sort of thing."
I should have just let you do it in your wellies and then let you complain afterwards, shouldn't I?
But no, that turned out to be all good. And then that pretty much brings us to where we're at now. And it's weird because we've filmed so much stuff already that we've done on the Yeti in particular that will be coming to you guys in January, that sort of thing. And we've got little bits planned, obviously, kind of for next year as well. So yeah, it's a bit weird because there's bits that I want to talk about, but I prefer leaving them till the videos come out.
That was why I nearly gave away something about the Yeti, and I was like, can't say that. Some people know what it is already, but I'm not going to say anything.
I mean, if you're not on our Instagram, can I just say, like, and you have an Instagram account, then feel free to follow us on Instagram
100%.
Because you never know, there might be exclusive bits ended up over there.
Maybe.
Alana controls pretty much that side of things, and there might be the odd occasion she might post something on there before it can even hit YouTube, because sometimes with YouTube that I try and keep it to one video a week because I don't want to up the content to more than one video a week and I can't sustain it and that sort of thing. It all gets quite messy. So it's just like one video a week is quite nice to do. If I get too much backlog content, I will up it and I'll do like a bonus video Wednesday or something like that to kind of relieve the backlog of videos, and also gives you guys more content. But generally, some videos might be a bit delayed. It's like some of them that were filmed already.
Yeah.
They're going to look a little bit odd.
Me wearing a Christmas pudding hat in a video that will come out in January.
Exactly. One of the things that we can say about though is I touched upon it at the start of this live stream was Long Mind.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good old annual Long Mind Boxing Day trip.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
That was a really good trip.
Day.
Beautiful weather as well.
Yeah,
really beautiful weather.
Another one. Looked at the forecast for it. Said that it was going to be cloudy all day. Grand scheme of things, it wasn't raining.
Driving there, it was incredibly foggy, and we thought, well, this is going to be great. We're not going to see any of the views or anything. Yeah. Beautiful sunshine.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
Definitely, and it's something that we generally do year on year. Boxing Day, we try and head out there. We do the same run, and you might think, well, isn't that a bit boring? Well, no, because
changes every year.
I was going to say one of the lanes is now shut off because of storm damage. So it's got to the point where it needs time to repair itself, or maybe a bit of work needs to be done to it by humans, maybe. But no, that trip, Freelander, we took the Freelander. I forget, we've got to say what car we take now because some people might get excited that it was a Yeti we took. We didn't take the Yeti because it's not quite where we want it just yet. It's close.
And it was more because we've not done the trip for a while. We didn't know what the conditions of the lanes would be.
Yeah.
And it'd be absolutely insane to take a car like the Yeti on something that potentially might be then out of its depth, and you're that far away from home. It wouldn't be the one.
No. But yeah, the Yeti's close to being able to kind of.
It's green. It's ready to green lane.
Yeah.
It's just on the right green lanes.
I was going to say, there's a couple more bits and pieces in a perfect world we'd like to do.
Might have just given a little teeny tiny spoiler there if you think about it. I'm not going to say any more though.
But no, that day is always great because we meet up with people that we've not seen for a long time.
Probably for 12 months.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, some people that might be the only time we'll see them all year, and we'll see them again the next Christmas sort of thing. But fantastic group of people that were there. We had some proper laughs.
Definitely.
The lanes were probably the most challenging they've been on that route.
Yeah, potentially. It's like, how wet it's been and how much storm damage and that some of the lanes have got. You definitely have to think about what you're doing for some of them, don't you? Because
there was one of the lanes that I said to Alana, I got out of the car, I said, look, I'm going to go halfway down the lane and then I'll film the car coming down it. Get a nice little shot of the car coming downhill, like scrabbling.
You've done before and it's fine.
Scrabbling for grip a little bit, that sort of thing. And as I was walking down this hill, I was struggling to walk on this, like down this hill, because the stuff was so loose. In the end, I just went, this is going to be a terrible idea, because if the car starts sliding on the loose stuff, I'm going to be the thing in front of it. And I don't really want to be run over by my own car if I can help it.
I don't really want to be running him over either if I can help it.
So cue me kind of scuttling my way all the way down. And
it looked quite funny from the top of the hill, that I must admit.
I can imagine. Yeah, we ended up kind of carrying on a bit more. Michael might have had
a couple of mishaps from Mr. Michael there. But we won't talk about those. It's fine. If you know, you know.
Exactly. What stays on the trip? What goes on at a trip stays on the trip, or waits until the video gets released at least. But
if you look in the right place on Facebook, you see it.
Definitely. But no, that is, I think, everything from the year recapped up until where we're at now. In fact,
yes.
Going forwards, we're going to obviously focus both on the Freelander and the Yeti.
Very much so.
We have ideas of what we're going to do with the Yeti. It's the thing is, we can't do a Darkside development. We don't have the tools. We don't have the garage capability. We don't do. I wouldn't say we don't have the free time, but I don't know if they really had the free time per se, because obviously they work all the hours under the sun themselves. But if there's anyone out there that, I don't know, maybe you're a tour guide or something like that, it's like, we're more than happy to turn up to stuff if we can, that sort of thing, to vary up different bits through the year.
Very much so. We're definitely going to be looking at what we can get done with the Yeti this year in particular, just purely because why the hell not?
Yes.
That's what it's there for at the end of the day, isn't it?
I was going to say...
it's not going to end the Freelander green laning, because ultimately the Freelander is always going to be the car that goes green laning and does all of these things. But we still want to see what the Yeti's capable of. Definitely.
And also it's like, there's only so much that we can spend on both cars.
Oh, good, yeah.
So
we don't have an unlimited budget, unfortunately.
No, if anyone does have an unlimited budget and wants to sponsor us,
just send it this way.
Feel free. We'll be able to do much bigger and better adventures, that sort of thing. But other than that, I think that's about everything.
It is. It is.
So I'm going to wrap up this live stream by saying the typical like, comment, and subscribe.
Do all those fun things down there.
Down there. We've managed to avoid this, thankfully, so we're going to keep hold of this probably till the next one we do.
No, we'll just eat it, because it'll probably be quite nice actually in the right environment.
Maybe that could be true, but
I do kind of want to sniff it to see how hot it is.
Do you want to sniff?
Can I open it and sniff it? I think you might need to take the thing off.
I'll let you do that. Can't drive it.
Your school set.
I don't have the IQ for that.
No, I'm just genuinely intrigued about it, I must admit.
Don't think anyone did a comment.
Nobody commented. I have been watching.
Sad.
People have been dipping in and out. I want to be a tap. Oh, that's clever. Oh, that actually smells really nice. It smells chilly, don't get me wrong.
It's when I drop it.
Probably.
Oh.
That does smell nice.
Smells like it's got a kick. Do you want to try it?
I'm okay at the moment. I'm actually thinking about putting that in our dinner.
Oh. Interesting.
It does smell nice.
Join us where we smell spicy sauces.
It does smell nice though, don't you think?
It does actually. I'm quite surprised actually.
It does smell chilly, but it smells nice chilly.
Yeah.
Well, it came from Hertfordshire. Welwyn Garden City.
But anyway, I'm going to end this one here because Alana needs a nap.
I do need a nap, actually. I'm kind of warm and cosy, and I am ready for a nap now, I've got to admit.
We hope you've enjoyed your Christmas.
Yes.
We hope you enjoy your New Year.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
And be safe with all that. Be careful. Look after one another.
Don't get too drunk.
Yes. And don't make crazy choices.
Unless, sometimes crazy choices can be fun.
Definitely.
Sometimes.
But yeah, we'll end up doing another live stream at some point, but it'll probably
It's just going to be a spontaneous one, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be a spontaneous one. One video that I'd like to do in the near future, when I can fit it in, I'm not sure, but I'd like to do like a question and answers type video.
Yes.
Because the last one we did was quite funny and quite enjoyable.
It's actually quite funny.
So I'd like to do that one again. So maybe that will be a bonus video at some point. Who knows? If you have watched this live stream, feel free to comment any questions down below. That would be nice, and maybe they'll get included. Oh, I was meant to work out who won what, because that was the whole idea of the live stream.
Oh, it's a bit late now.
Put it this way, I don't need to work it out.
I blatantly won both of our Christmas challenges.
Alana won both of them, but I think it was much closer with the painting one.
Yeah.
It's like one of the polls that I did actually got 50-50 in the end.
Ooh.
I
won.
It was actually a YouTube community feed.
I still won.
I think that was 50-50.
Still won.
Yeah.
Still a sore loser, sorry.
I was going to say, in the grand scheme of things, so yeah, I've wrapped that up. I would have kicked myself if I hadn't said about that. Yeah, the gingerbread house challenge, Alana won.
Yeah.
Painting challenge, Alana won. But to be fair, I did turn around and say that if it's who can change the wheels on the Yeti the fastest, there's a chance that I could win that one.
Yeah. No comment.
On that note, I'm going to wave and say goodbye, and Alana's then going to faff around.
I'm going to try and work out how to turn this off.
So this could be entertaining.
Yes.
So thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one,
We
won't
will
we?
indeed.
I'm going to wave and say goodbye.
And
So
keep
bye
waving.
from me.
Keep
Oh,
waving.
excuse you.
That was definitely the chair.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so I'm